to Jonathan Taylor. Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor made a man miss the line of scrimmage and then runs it into Pater. And a one-handed INT. Are you kidding me? Kenny Moore.
What a play by Nyheim Hines.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. We have a special guest today, Matt from Inside the Horseshoe podcast. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, long day at work, but hey, I'm excited to talk about some Colts football and this Carson Wentz situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite odd. Sunday we were all talking about, he's going to do rehab, and then 12 hours later, come to find out, we're actually going to go the surgery route now. So quite a change in direction, very drastic change in direction very quickly.
Oh, yeah, because when I first heard the news on Sunday that either was going to be rehab or surgery, I kind of looked at it as, if you get surgery, the worst that's going to happen is I think they call it a Lisfranc surgery, or injury. I think that's how or what they call it.
Yeah.
That, if it ends up being the case, is actually an 11-month recovery time just because of how bad it can get.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, it didn't feel like it would be something that bad. So I felt a little more calm and a little relaxed that, okay, worst case scenario, he's going to be out until probably week 1. And then he'll be back. Yeah, it'd be a little struggle maybe at times because he's not as used to the offense. But we should be in a better position with him as our starting quarterback. Now he's going to be out for, I would say, at least the first 2 games. That worries me, especially with, who we're going to be playing those first 2 games.
Yeah, I know. I mean, basically, I'm glad I kind of know now what the injury was because, when they first said it, they were like, well, we don't know. We don't know what is the problem. Well,
right.
Now that I realize what the injury was, I'm glad he actually went the surgery route because if that thing had not been treated and it was left to dangle like that, it probably would have done a lot more damage later on. So thankfully they did that. I've done the math on the weeks. So 5 weeks is 5.5 weeks up until the point where we play our first game. So almost leading into that 6th week, they were saying 5 to 12, but most doctors will tell you that it's more like 6 to 8. That's where the majority of people end up going as long as the rehab is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, because the Colts thought, we'll get him on the front end of that timeline. We're almost certain of it. I mean, I'm thinking he's either ready for week 1 or he's going to be ready by week 3. So I was like, okay, not the best thing in the world, but it could have been a lot worse. So I'm somewhat okay with it now. I just really hope he is ready for week 1.
Me too.
I mean, the great thing is that he can't hurt the bone anymore. So they removed it. So that's not an issue anymore. But the ultimate question is just how much pain can this guy take? Because how much pain is he going to be in if they start him for week 1? How much is it going to hurt?
True. And I would be shocked if it went the full 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wants him to be back as soon as possible, but another part of me wants to wait until he's like 100%, not really feeling any pain at all, just feeling really good in the foot rather than just playing through the pain. Because I feel like I think our team is good enough to where if he waits until week 3, week 4, we can win at least a game or 2 of those. So I would rather have him wait just so he feels good. And then when he comes in, he won't be, feeling any aggravation on his foot. I think that probably would help him a little more. But it really confuses me, with this being a high school injury, more than likely. Do the Eagles have the worst doctors ever? Why was this not work?
They kind of asked that. They were asking that a bunch of times. And look, the Eagles never knew because even Wentz didn't know. Wentz actually said, I never knew I actually broke my foot.
Okay.
It's weird because it's like, how the hell do you not know you broke your foot? But, right. I mean, sometimes when you're a high school athlete and sometimes when you do get some injuries, but sometimes the severity of it doesn't show up until later. I mean, he's had dozens of autopsies and everything else done on that foot, and nothing has ever been shown before because it's never gotten bad up until now. So it's like, you know, it was waiting, and then something happened, and then, you know, it's really unfortunate luck there.
Definitely. It just, that confuses me that it took so long to actually discover that injury. You would think, especially if he broke it, you would find out pretty early on. But look, I mean, if he played as well as he did in 2017 with that injury being there, how is he? Is he going to be better now with that fix?
Yeah, you would think now that he doesn't have to worry about it anymore. It's kind of
is he going to be is he going to be like better than 2017 for the next 5-10 years? I mean, if that's the case, I'll take it.
Idea. I mean, I guess the one thing I'm really hoping he is ready for week 1, because, you know, we found out that, you know, 2 quarterbacks last year played with gruesome injuries, lingering injuries all season. Phillip Rivers apparently had a messed up foot from the very beginning last year and played through the entire thing. Now, granted, he's more of a stationary quarterback, so he didn't have to worry as much. But nevertheless, that was a 38-year-old man doing all of that. I would think Carson Wentz would be able to do it with some kind of pain. Just it depends on what it is. And, you know, come to find out, Tom Brady had a torn MCL the whole year and somehow still found a way to play. That's just insane.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if anybody's going to play through something like that, it would be Tom Brady.
Go figure
something out. But I mean, if Carson Wentz can play through that injury, play as well as he has in the past, and that's not going to really affect him in the games, then I'm totally fine with it. But like I said, part of me is almost like, let's let him rest that foot. But at the same time, if we go into week 1, week 2, and let's say he would be ready to go, but they want to rest his foot, and we look bad, you know, with Eason or whoever's the quarterback, then at that point I'm like, okay, let's get Wentz back now. You know, if he can, you know, play on it, let's get him back now. But
very situational. It's very situational. We're all just gonna have to figure it out as time goes along. But thankfully, at least we know this isn't a season-ending thing, and I think a lot of people are getting too hung up on the 12-week thing. I think that's the worst case scenario, and I'm most likely certain that's not going to happen. So, you know, nevertheless, Wentz isn't the quarterback right now. Jacob Eason supposedly has the #1 job right now, and Reich said that he feels comfortable with the team and the way they're at right now, and said that if Eason does have to go in there for a game or two to cover, that he feels they would be fine. Says that he would be able to get a strategy in place for Eason to be able to give us a good chance to win. How important is this offseason for Jacob Eason, man? I mean, it has to be so important.
Oh, it's massive, because let's say he goes out there and just dominates and looks like he could be a franchise quarterback. At that point, if he looks that good, and then let's say Carson Wentz comes in and he looks like he did 2017, I would even say 2019, I thought he played pretty well too. It's just the team wasn't great. But if Carson Wentz looks great and Jacob Eason looks great, that opens up the possibility to where a team that might be in a situation like we were, where they're a quarterback away, maybe they go, okay, Eason looks like he can be that guy. Let's offer something similar to what Stafford got, or what, I don't know, something in the middle between that and Wentz. Maybe we can get some good draft capital from it, and then Jacob Eason can go out there and he could play for 10, 15 years and he can be a franchise quarterback. But if he doesn't play good and he looks average to just not good at all, then that won't be good just for his career moving forward. He's more than likely going to be a backup at best unless he turns it around after. But it's very important for him, just not for this year, but for the following seasons.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of preseason that he's actually been able to deal with so far, I mean, it is great that, you know, he's now getting the #1 attention, right? He's not getting, you know, the back of the aisle attention away from like when Phillip Rivers was getting and what Wentz was getting earlier this offseason. Now it is his team until Carson Wentz gets back. For this preseason, he's going to have to make sure he's ready and his team is ready. And I think it's great that these preseason games he's about to get, it's going to be weird for his preseason because normally when you think number one quarterbacks, they have 2 series in a game and they'll go out and they'll just not play the rest of the year. But for him, he's going to have to play at least a half every single preseason game because last year didn't get a chance to do those because of COVID. So now with no NFL experience whatsoever, those preseason games are so valuable for him to be able to learn how to read an opposing defense.
Definitely. And I also think another, week that's going to be very important is next week when Carolina comes to town, just to see how he plays against their defense and see how he reads that defense. That could be pretty big for, what to expect from him potentially. Carolina's not like the greatest defense and, they're not as good of a defense as some of the teams we're going to be playing early on, but still to at least get a look at how he's going to read that defense, I think that's really big too.
Yeah, how confident are you with, the situation he's walking into, knowing this probably isn't going to be a long-term thing, but he has to, take advantage of the opportunities he has now with the team around him. How confident are you that he's able to kind of get the job done here?
I'm kind of in the middle right now because there's been some throws that he's made in preseason that have been great. There's the one the Colts shared on Twitter and Facebook, that touchdown to Michael Pittman that just looked beautiful, just perfectly placed. But at the same time, he's also made some mistakes, throwing it right to Bobby Okereke. But I expected him to have some of these mistakes because, he's pretty much a rookie at this point. I know a lot of people are freaking out saying, oh, he's terrible. Colts need to go after Gardner Minshew, which, that's another discussion for another day. But, they're saying all these things, and I'm just like, listen, he's going up against a top 5 defense for his first time in the NFL. He's done good things. He hasn't done good things. That's what you want to see, in training camp. You want to see the defense win it at times. You want to see the offense win it at times. So right now, I just need to see what he does against Carolina. If he looks good against them, that's when I'll be pretty confident in him. But right now, I'm kind of mixed on him. He hasn't looked incredible, but he hasn't looked terrible.
Yeah, I made a video, I think a few days ago, saying, should we be concerned? Because here comes this kid who, up until this point has 13 collegiate games of experience, had 3 years in college, 13 collegiate games. And has no NFL experience, but this guy might have to be our quarterback for the first couple weeks of this season, And, I'm still concerned, obviously, as most Colts fans should be. Right. But, I'm very interested to see what these preseason games look like. I really want to see him get some real game time action. I want to see him make some big throws. I want to see him but also be in control and not try to fit balls into windows where he really can't do it. That's the issue with Eason right now, as we've seen it in college, where this guy has one of the strongest arms in the NFL, but yet has not taken a snap under an NFL center yet, but has one of the strongest arms. He feels like he can make throws when they really aren't there. And especially when you're in the NFL, that can get you hurt.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see. If he goes into, I think we play Carolina week 1 of the preseason, and if he looks terrible, I'm going to be going, okay, Brett Hundley, what can you do? Sam Ehlinger, you haven't taken a snap either. Are you ready to go? Apparently he's looked better today than he has in the past couple training camps, but still, right now I'm perfectly fine with Eason. At the moment, I think he's the best that we got. I think we have the team to do well. And hey, if he doesn't look the greatest, but he's still the best option for us, we can just run the ball. And let Taylor and Mack and Hines, win the games for us.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about, this whole team is, we're kind of forgetting everything else is, Ryan Kelly's out for a little while, so he's going to have to get used to playing under center without Kelly for a couple more weeks. And then, Quentin Nelson went out today with a foot injury. Sounds like he's going to be okay, but, that was doing that. And the left tackle is not there, getting destroyed by our young defensive ends every day, apparently. And, the defense has been crazy. The defense has been moving around really well. And that's even without Darius Leonard. I mean, Darius Leonard hadn't been out there either. So, it's all brand new. Hopefully as training camp goes along and everybody starts to get more healthy, then things will start falling into play a little more.
Yeah.
In regards to Sam Ehlinger, you think there's any chance he takes that second quarterback spot, or do you think that, Eason is basically just the go-to guy when it comes to this situation?
I think Eason's the go-to guy, and I honestly think even with Carson Wentz out, I don't see Sam Ehlinger being number 2. I think it's going to be Brett Hundley just because of the experience, even though it's not good experience by the look of things. I mean, he was a starting quarterback for Green Bay when Aaron Rodgers was out, and they weren't great. He threw, I think, 9 touchdowns and 12 interceptions at that point.
Yeah, it was like 9 or 13 or something.
Yeah, so, I mean, unless Ehlinger over the next few weeks goes out there and just looks so much better than what he has, even though he's already improved so far, I think he's still quarterback 3, and I think that's where he's going to stay when Carson Wentz comes back. I think Hundley's gone, and Ehlinger will just kind of sit as the third quarterback. But yeah, I think it's Eason season.
Yeah, Eason season. I certainly hope so. I want to see it in the preseason, man. I want to see them when he gets into the game to allow him to feel more comfortable. I want to see him start trying to take the top off the defense early. I want in these preseason games, don't let him go on the checkdowns very often. I want him to do that, but at the same time, I want him to be able to learn to use that arm to be able to gain him some confidence against these defenses.
Me too. I mean, by what we've seen in training camp, that should be no problem as long as he can connect with the deep ball, because, you have Paris Campbell looking fast. Michael Strawn, if, he ends up getting some playing time, he's looking really good. I like that speed he's providing. You got T.Y., who I still think T.Y. is pretty fast, especially for his age. And then you got Michael Pittman, who, he's going to be tough to stop downfield. So he's got the receivers to go downfield. It just depends how accurate is he when it comes to those passes, especially when
the accuracy is going to be the issue there. The accuracy is going to be the issue. We know his arm is insanely powerful, but he's got to be accurate.
Definitely. I don't know, maybe Morton somehow ends up being the starting quarterback. I mean, he's got an arm too, so.
Yeah, I saw that. I've seen Zach Hicks talking about that all the time. And it's like, dude, I don't even know why Morton's even there. I'm being serious. I'm sorry to say that, but this is Eason season at this point, whether that's for 5 weeks or whether that's for 12 weeks, we're here for it. But Matt, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, let us know what you think in the comments. How excited or unexcited are you for Eason season, whether that's for 5 weeks and we don't ever see him play, or 12 weeks or somewhere in between where we actually do get to see some action in the regular season? Either way, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.